Hello, hello. How's everyone doing? What's occurring? How's everyone's day been? Okay, we've just seen some selling come in treasuries here. Had a relatively slow day today, to be honest. I missed quite a lot of the session as I was out, which is not that normal, to be honest. But we did okay. We'll run through the trades. I had a short in earlier, but we just could not crack the 6.5, so I got out for a tick, which is a shame. I was hoping we would work our way back down to VWAP, but looks like we're just about to change the POC. Avi, buddy, how's it going? Lovely to see you. How's your day been? What's been happening? Okay, so we're now seeing this tick up and this have then been reloaded. We have hit this price. We've literally been in let me get my trusty lines out. We've been between um, here and here has been the range. So we're just doing this with prices taking up, then we're clearing out, so it's been in this sort of 4 tick range. So whatever which way it breaks, the buyers are getting a little bit firmer on things. Jack, how's it going, buddy? Started with ES London, first hour of New York, then chilling with the 10-year. Good man, good man. I've had a really long day today, to be honest. Let me see if I go to trade, open trade window. Made 4 ticks, a whopping 4 ticks on the 30-year today, and I think we made like like 3 ticks or something on the 10-year. Yeah, 3 tickaroos. So quite pleased with how I exited here. I got out with like 1 tick, but it's alright when you do it on some decent size. Yeah, it's been okay, Avi. It's been okay. Nothing too exciting. Relatively nothing burger day. See, we're just consistently at the moment. We've now changed the POC higher. We're just about to do that on the 30-year as well. So let me just clear this. Anytime the market's going up to 8.5, we're just ticking up and then sellers are clearing out the price. So do we think we're going to get movement out? Sorry about that, I just muted myself. Do we think we're going to get movement out here in the next couple hours? Probably not. I thought we would start with treasuries before we jump into equities. Good evening, Nico. How's it going? How's your day been? Okay, so some buyers just tried to crack here. We've seen some absorption. We've just seen the guts of 700 contracts absorbed, 700 been pulled. Same again. So it'll be interesting to see if we do crack out here. We maybe get a little tick stop run and then revert back. But I can't really. My initial thoughts were we're going to at least go back down and retest down here for this sort of filled out area, but it doesn't look like buyers can crack this level as they've tried multiple times. What positions? Did you take any positions today, Nico? Were you in ES or NQ? Oh, I actually set up NQ with the combined ticks. It was a bit painful to set up, but I'm going to test it for a while now and maybe put a video out on it to see if it can provide you guys some value. It's not the best solution I've got at the moment. Like, I really like to have the recent bid trade, recent bid, recent offer, and I have that marked with white, so you can clearly look and see where's the last traded price. With NQ combined, you guys will see in a minute, it's not very clear. So we'll probably swiftly change to the indices in a minute just because I can't really see us doing too much until the 10-year breaks out of here. You know, if we do hit with some size, but you notice there's been 4k absorbed, price ticked up here, then I think 2 or 3k was traded. So we need to break out here, and then the market has rejected this area today. But treasuries have been just extremely bid over the last, since last week. We ended the week, we went bids, we've opened up strong upside, then again, and then we've done the same again today. So it's been going straight up the way, to be honest. A few scalps in NQ. Right, let me jump into a normal setup and we'll clear it. I switched this around a little bit. So you can see with NQ I have this combined, not the smoothest, right? You can see where it's not highlighting the best bid and the best ask, which is kind of a bit foreign to me, but you can see how it's aggregating these prices. I don't know if that's easier for people to see on stream. I've normally always had it just a tick. I don't really trade NQ. I normally always use it for correlation. But the one thing I would say about it is it's a little bit easier to see the flow because NQ is normally wild up and down. So I wanted just to see this for correlations to see if it adds on any value. But do you guys see what I mean? It's basically every point you see here. Well, that's every fluctuation is now basically a point. Let me know what you guys think. I personally always looked at it when it's a tick, when it's set to tick, but it definitely it's not as wild, and the DOM goes a little bit haywire when you're doing this right because it's not the best performance as you can see. And I know with Sierra they're working on like the pooling and stacking and other columns basically matching because you can see it kind of overlaps and stuff. It's not the smoothest. Yeah, the standard ladder is wild, man. I would say that Sierra's not. This is not one of their best features. I know they're putting out some releases, but it's kind of triggering me how things overlap, and the best bid and the best offer is not highlighting. But I suppose you can't really do that, right? Because it's you know they need to put out a few features to help combine it, if that makes sense. But you can see it's a good amount easier to notice, you know, like NQ normally goes wild. Hey Hong, how's it going? Nice of you to stop by. So we have just been tearing. When I checked this in pre-market, we are plus nearly 28k delta today. My God. Oh, I had this drawn out earlier actually. I didn't think we would get here, but we have. Really important level coming up right now. Let me zoom in. I didn't put this into a single profile. So yeah, important level coming up. I would be very surprised if we're going to break this today, and there doesn't really look to have been that much value built up. We've just went straight line. And essentially, I think what the numbers has happened when they've come out, because the job numbers have come out. Basically, um, stock market is now saying there's a higher chance that we're going to cut rates. So that's basically the sentiment as to why we're over 28k on days. I don't know if anyone else does this, but when we have an absolutely gigantic positive or negative delta day, it's probably one of the only times I'll check open interest. And I check it because there's some significant size and we have, so how many positions are carrying over, because you can pretty much deduce that the positions that are carrying over are going to be longs, right? Yeah, you're telling me, Jack. No way can I. I mean, I could probably trade it like this, but I just, you know, it's mainly used for correlations. So until we get up to this level, I wouldn't really be interested in a short, and I would suspect we're going to need to have some form of take profit. As you guys know, the last couple of hours of the session, if we do get, if sellers do start to come in, there is a lot of long liquidations that can happen, and we've not retested the breakout area here. The market's basically come down, just went straight bid through. We've not really retested this area, so there's a lot can happen in a couple hours. You know what equities are like, or indices. Yes, yes, Jack. I check open interest. Hey, trader boy, first time logging in. Nice. No problem, man. I'm glad you appreciate them, buddy. Yeah. So open interest. Depends where you are, of course, but basically you can check a sort of prelim at the just after the close. It's like a sort of rough estimate, but those numbers become firm once I think it's like half an hour or something into the next session. So what would be interesting is to see how many of this 27k delta is going to carry over, because the reason why I'm interested in that is only institutions are carrying over positions, and how much of this buying that's happened today is carried over. So now the trouble is with open interest, if you guys are not aware, it doesn't tell you if it's net long or net short, but you can pretty much guide it, right? And then if you make those notes, then you can check the commitment of traders report that comes out every Friday, and it'll tell you if hedge fund managers are net long, net short, and then you can deduce from those days of the week, um, basically what positions they were in, as an example. So it just gives you an idea, because ultimately all we're trying to do here is just be on at least the right side where large firms are going. Do I look at that when we're in a choppy market? No, no. Hello, Neil. Nice you to stop by, buddy. So I was saying, if we do sell off, we can go down and retest the initial balance high that was essentially put in. We've not did a proper break and retest of this, and you guys know that the market loves to do that. I mean, you can't really call this a pullback. It's just been a straight line day. And ES, in my opinion, when the market's like this, you either caught the breakout here, or you bought somewhere down here, and if you held for the whole day, then well done. But you need balls of steel to buy here. You'd also need probably balls of steel to buy here, considering this has been a day where we've just been hugging the VWAP bands. So, great day to be involved in treasuries. Good question, Neil. So yeah, precisely. So if I have a good morning, right? And it depends. Like I typically my journal tells me that basically 3 hours or so before the close, probably even really more than that. But yeah, between 3 and 4 hours before the close, if I've not made my money that day, I'm not going to. So I don't, I'm then just trading for the sake of trading. So prior to me actually streaming and stuff, um, I would spend the time running over my journal, review my trades, or I would record the sessions and run over them. Because what a really valuable tool is if you guys, record your sessions, and it's interesting to watch your behavior, especially if you guys speak to yourself, which I do. I tend to speak to myself quite a lot and hear what you're thinking, what you're looking at, and but the rather than trading, it's probably best to review. I actually see it the same as poker. I've played a lot of poker in my time, right? And it's the same way where you're like, okay, I'm probably better playing on the tables or grinding away and getting experience. But then actually, it's probably more valuable for you to not go and grind those 2 hours and go and study up on GTO or something. Same side of things, and that's the misconception I find that so many traders do with trading is if you work a job, the more hours you put in at a job, the more money you make. It's just the way everyone's programmed, right? Trading is not like that, you know, because in my opinion, the more hours you put in that day, the weaker you get, the more tired you get, and the less, you know, you're basically the harder decisions that you need to make, like cutting quickly, you know, are you spotting absorption or not? They get much harder if you're much later on in the day. So, and you're only going to know that if you journal. I don't know what journaling software you guys use, but I think there's like a free trial or something into TraderSync. What I'll need to do is for some content at some point for videos is basically to run through how I journal, what I look at, uh, we can run over like a week of trades, and we can just see, because if you once you get a significant sample, data is everything in life. Literally in any industry, regardless of trading, data is it, right? So if you know the data on yourself and your own trading, play to it. If you've got a significant sample size and you see that you do your arson on Friday afternoons, well, don't trade. You know, but if you're having a really good day and the market is conducive to your strategy and things are working, don't stop trading by all means. But I think you should have a cut off in terms of time, because if you're working a normal job, you wouldn't, you know what I mean? You wouldn't be working at like seven, well, actually, you would finish at 5 o'clock, right, or 4 o'clock or whatever. It all depends on where you're based. Because I'm based in the UK, I've got pretty much all the markets I can trade. Part of the Asia session, I can trade the London Open, and I can trade the US Open and into the close. For me, that's cool and all, but it doesn't really add any value to me, because I end up, because it's like, right now, it's 20 past 7 in the evening. I'm tired. The last thing I want to be doing is really, executing. Does that make sense? It's same as you guys, right? It's your Asia. Let me think of that. Yeah. So your London time is basically like midnight for you if you're in the US. You're never going to be able to make the good decisions that you would if you're fresh at like 10, 11 a.m. after initial balance is put in, right? Hi, Formula. How's it going, buddy? The Jacksons, you've got BB. What is what does that mean? Yeah, exactly, Hong. It's I can't do it, and especially it's all very well if you're, if you're looking at a candlestick or something, right? You know, you're not really it's not really that taxing. But when you're staring at four DOMs, you're watching the correlation, you're seeing what's been pulled. Here you're watching, you're quickly refreshing the delta to see, right, okay, there's been some size come in here. Where are we in the day versus the profile? And you're watching the correlations. You can't do that for 5, 6 hours straight. No, no chance. No chance. That's where these HFT firms will always have an edge over a human because they can code all that in and then just let it play. They just turn on the machines. That's the whole thing. Being a human, you've got the massive power of discretion and screen time and skill set that you've learned because you can analyze and take into consideration context, which a machine can't. However, you then have the downside of being tired. You know, so you just need to factor all of that into your trading. Try to find it could be easier to go on tilt and also as the day goes on, especially if yeah, exactly, exactly. I think number one thing what you should be doing with your broker or with your own it depends if you're trading prop or you're trading with your broker. Whatever which way you're doing it, go onto your platform and set hard stops. Like seriously, phone your broker and say to them, right, if I lose X amount a day, lock me out, right? And as you guys know, when you make that decision, when you're calm in your mind, and you know that's the amount you're willing to lose, and your broker does not allow you to execute any more positions, you're going to save yourself. Because when you're, say you've lost 3 trades in a row, right, and you're steaming into positions, that's just, it's never going to end well, is it? But you end up going on tilt and just smashing buttons and saying, oh, well, I've already lost that now, so I'll just, all in. Do you know what I mean? That can happen to anyone. And people need to be aware that that's the case, and everyone has a breaking point, but you need to. It's 2024, there is technology, software available to stop you being a potato, so use it. You know, I still go and tell. I've been doing this for years. I can't tell you the amount of times when I first started doing this damn thing, where I would be up in the day, would have a good green day, I would lose some, and then before I know it, I'd do my arse by the end of the day, you know. And eventually, after I started journaling and seeing a continual pattern, I thought, right, I need to basically, what's my average winning day? Okay, what's my max win? What's my best day that I've done? Okay, and then I need to basically put in, I'm not going to lose, say 1.5 times more than my average losing day or something. Do you know? Filter those in so that when you do have a losing day, you're not knocking yourself back like a week. If you have a bad day, you should just come back tomorrow and then you're back to square one again. You shouldn't need to shouldn't set you back a week. And sadly, that's what happens to so many traders. They consistently have no problem at putting in green days, but then when it comes to it and they have a losing day, they knock back weeks of work, pretty much. Yeah, exactly. It's just a general rule. If you've put in a green day for that day and say you've hit your profit goal, whatever it means, say it's 400 or 500 quid or something, um, your goal for that day should be right. I probably now should just like decrease my size a little bit, you know. Or is what I would recommend if you've had a good day in indices, right? Go to treasuries or something. You know what I mean? Because unless you go balls deep in treasuries, you're not going to lose that much. I mean, if we jump back to treasuries, this is not really that volatile at the moment, but if you quickly jump back to treasuries, okay, this is at literally the same spot. Which is why I switched. We've just literally went between here. We're now actually cracking here at the minute, and this has been reloaded. This is quite interesting. And that's going to be key. We've now hit here like 4 times since I've been watching, so it's bound to go one way or the other. But this is my point. When you switch to this, probably from lunch lunchtime, maybe 2 p.m., you're not going to continually lose. Not continually lose, sorry. You're not going to have a massive swing because it only moves like 5, 6 ticks. But this is quite interesting now, right? We've seen a tick up in the 5 year, tick up in the 10 year. This is now this key level. We want to see if sales are gone, but it's looking pretty promising how there's been 3k added, 700 pulled. We're seeing the same on the 30 year, 1200 added, 800 pulled, and the same. So this is extremely bullish. I don't even need to look at a chart right now to tell you that this has got a possibility where we can pop here. If some size comes in, and this is exclusive on the 10 year, right? If size doesn't come in here and you see continual refreshing, and then you see some buyers lifting into the offer right now, and you see these pulled. So this 800 pulled, there was a 1,000 pulled a second ago, and then what you want to be seeing if you were continuing this breakout is if this clears. So notice there's nearly 6k. You want when the buyers come in here and maybe 2k trades, there's 3k pulled, and then when it ticks up into the 7k, they automatically pull. Okay, so they're not really pulling right now, but we're in a sort of stale pace until either buyers or sellers crack. But it seems to be going at the same, they're holding this price in the 5 year, holding it in the 10 year, and they're doing the same on the 30-year bond. You know, so if I was short right now, I would be like, this is not good. If I was selling here or here, and this is happening, I would be like, right. If this takes this out, I'm out. You know, for example. So say you shorted here or here, right? You've literally had 3 or 4 ticks. You're not going to go broke on 3 or 4 ticks in treasuries. It's not a thing. So I'll catch up with some of these questions. All right. Nice, Jackson. Nice, buddy. So you went long after at 30 after. Wow, you had a fucking cracker of a day, man. Well done. I don't trade. I don't trade. I don't trade Urex. I'm tempted. I'm in a great position, location wise to trade it, but I don't because again I try and trade 2 3 hours a day where I'm laser focused and in the zone, you know. But I've considered it. The Bund is a good product, man. It's their equivalent of the 10 year. I actually quite like that it's a little bit easier not to read. Like the pricing is a little bit simpler and it's €10 a point. Uh, Sorry, not a point, a tick. Oh, nice, buddy. Thanks for the subscription. There's my hype man again, Dimitri. Thanks, buddy. Much appreciate it. Master Scalper, hello. Hello. Okay, so I wasn't really paying attention, but we've seen 2k traded. We've seen this now tick down, and the 5 year has just hit that. So now they've refreshed on the bid. So we've got some legs here potentially if this continues to hold. And this is the power of treasuries and correlations, right? This is just not cracking. 2k sold into here, and we're now refreshing on the bid, and are doing the same on the 5 year. The hard part about treasuries is you need to anticipate this because see if you buy right now, you're last in the queue. You're going to struggle to get filled. And I don't believe in paying up in treasuries, in my opinion. I want to get filled. I want to get hit on the limit. So if we notice now, there's 2k traded, 2k pulled. If this does get taken out, let's see how 7 reacts. A lot of these orders up here might be fake. So you've got 8k here, 7k here. If they take this out, we should probably see, you want to see the price tick up and then 2 or 3k automatically pulled from here. So they're seeing it here on the 30 year, 1600 pulled from this price. Okay, but then the bid is continually being refreshed. Now the thing is with the time of the day, is this the time of day to be cracking breakouts? Probably not. So that's why I wouldn't normally consider taking this, but if this was at normal times, this is extremely bullish. The bid is extremely strong right now. But for the time of the day, considering we spent so much time in here, and this is the new POC, we are getting to the stage where we're completely out of value, and you know the market typically likes to try and attract back into value. So we could see a little bit of a bait and switch. We could say 3k contracts hit into the bid here, this pool, and then we're back down here. But considering considering the 5 year and the 30 year here is looking relatively strong, but they need to try and crack here. And this is what I was saying on the Discord earlier, that someone will just sit and absorb all these prices. So if they're to crack another 2k, if they take the full 2k from here, and then the market doesn't tick up and nothing is pulled, and the contrary, if they take the full amount and then market ticks up, they instantly smash into the bid and then refresh on the offer, not great. You know, it's a sign that someone is willing to just hold this price. Like kids, so you get to trade the open more easily. Nice, nice. But we'll switch back. I will actually want to see what happens with this price before we switch back to equities. So 2k here continually added. When the price is ticking down, we're not seeing anything being pulled. Same again across the board, but we're not seeing any market orders coming in. You need them to move price. It's all very well the bids being strong, but we need market orders to take it out. And let me know if this is what you guys typically look for when you're trading treasuries. Then we have the footprint to the left that we just simply use for imbalances. Did we take any trades off of that? No, I just like to see roughly where we're at. So there, we've just seen some size there come in. If you guys could hit the like button, that'd be much appreciated. I can see there's a number of you watching, but no likey so far, so hit it please. So I have it shown at the moment where I highlight. I've got do not combine data for my time of sales, and I use that so that if I'm not paying attention as much, I can clock it. So I have it filtered to anything above 100 on the 10 year, and then I class anything above 200. I have anything above 200 I like to highlight. But I mean, typically, a large order that I would consider in one order type is probably 200 on the 10 year, and then probably 100 on the 5 and 30s. And then a large order for me is probably 10 to 15 contracts. 15 is what I typically would trade in the 10 year. And I'm looking to take 3 or 4 ticks and then get on with my day, to be honest. But nice if I could just take 3 or 4 ticks and be done, go on with life every day. That would be great. But you notice here, we look at all this buying that's coming in, we're just not moving. We're seeing it across the board. They need to try and crack this price. And this is what I was saying in the Discord before. Now we've just taken it there on the fives. I think we just ticked up. We smashed through into the bid. So they've done that, but then the bid has now been refreshed. So no moolah yet for sellers. Hi Kevin. Do you use the charts at all when you're trading treasuries, or do you mostly trade? So I use, so as you can see, I've got the 10 year up where I have market profile, and I like to draw roughly value areas, whereabouts we are, gives me sort of context as to where we're sitting um, for the day. You know, we're super bid at the moment, to be honest with you. If I put this into the composite profile and I'll zoom in, uh, you know, this is the POC yesterday for regular trading hours. This is the POC so far today. The extended line that I have here, the pink line, is VWAP on the DOM. So I use this to give an idea, but I don't even look at the charts for the 30 year or the 5 years. They tend to follow, they tend to follow what's happening. So interesting, the amount of size that's just come in, 460 in the 5 year. There's been over 1,000 contracts just hit into the bid to take all of this, and then we've seen more size coming in to the 30 year. So typically that's like a spread trade that happens. There's a lot of spreading going on. Um, so if they do continue to take out this price, and this is the trouble with trading breakouts at this time. At this time, my expectation is the further price gets away from a sort of fair value for the day. And if I could get a pen out, you can see by looking at volume profile, you know, I really should get that magic pen thing. But you can see here just a distribution. We have started the day down here, basically created a nice distribution and accepted price in here. Then we broke higher, accepted price here, broke higher again, and then went back down and filled out this area. The chances of us now going up and cracking highs at this time of the day, pretty slim, you know, pretty slim. And considering the 30 year is now ticking below POC, but I use overall charts just to guide me as what's happened in the previous session, what's going on. But when it comes to actually executing, um, it's pretty straightforward. The hardest part when trading on the 10 year when the market's like this, right, is um, you need to time your orders correctly, right? So if you were to put a bid out right now, okay, 2k needs to get chewed through that for you to get filled, unless up ones are pulled, of course, you know. But algorithms, this is why they're continually refreshing and moving around. It's to get the best queue position, because they can put in orders, wait for something to pull, put in an order, pull. They'll be doing that all the time so that they can try and get the best queue position. Because if they get filled with a good queue position and the market ticks up, they can get out here. I mean, if you get in here as a good queue position and tick up, you've made one tick. Now, one tick for a lot of people is like, well, why the heck are you doing that? The tick to commission ratio in treasuries is so good that you could probably take 4 trades a day on the 30 year, make 4 ticks, and still make a great amount of size. Not that I'm advocating anyone go for one tick, because if you start with that mindset, then your risk to reward is massively skewed, and then you end up struggling. So I'm not advocating that, but I'm just using it as an example. So we'll switch back to treasuries, because it looks like we're just going to be consolidating around here. I would like to see this be taken out and for us to tick back down, but we're gonna jump back and see what's going on. We are going crazy bid. And also that's another thing I covered in which market should you trade, right? And correlations is everyone. I don't know how many people I've always seen that say, oh, bonds and treasuries have got a negative correlation or an inverse correlation um, with the S&P or just equities in general. Bonds have been going bid, and so is I addressed that in that correlation video. I don't know if you guys have watched it, but you should probably check it out. That correlation is just dead and gone. If you're trading if you're trading treasuries, just look at treasuries for correlations, in my opinion. But let me know if anyone's got any other questions. I'll be putting out some more videos about treasuries. I appreciate, when discussing it, if you guys want me to go back there, just let me know. It's just a bit slow. Okay, so we're now up at this area. So if this now we've now swept here. Okay, now would be the time for sellers to start getting engaged right now. Now would be the time. If there's any time that it would be good to sell, now is where it's going to happen. Exactly. And the reason why this is a great area is, pretty much an untraded area, a massive high here that was printed out, went up and swept it, and then if we go down, you know, but we are massively one time framing at the moment, so it is a bit sketch, but this would be a good short stop above here. If price takes out here, then that thesis for the trade is no longer a thing, you know. And it is pretty scary selling a market that's ultimately like this, but this would be the opportunity where sellers should be getting involved. Let me know if you guys have got any other questions. Here we go. Let's see if we're going to crack that. There is now 28k delta over. Okay, so the bid has been pulled ever so slightly. Let's see if they can continue cracking. And there is a little bit of negative delta coming in now. So sellers are trying, as you can see from here. And we have seen a decent amount of absorption, the amount of size that's been executed up here. So we'll probably need to, NQ is just swept to highs there by a literal tick, considering I've not got the it's combined ticks now. Hey Vader, yep, I'm based, well, I don't know how you say it now, I'm based in the UK. I would still say Europe. Sadly, idiots in the UK voted to basically not walk into parts in Europe and make their life difficult with Brexit. Not I'm getting into politics or anything, but yeah, I'm Europe based, mate. Just putting this in the chat for anyone that would. I'll pin this for anyone that wants to support the channel. It's greatly appreciated. Nope. So I don't use Eurex. If I was, I would be trading the Bund, the Bobble, but I don't. I've contemplated it many, many, many times. If I was to be trading in the morning only, I would trade that. But as I was discussing earlier, I find it easier. Okay, we're ticking down ever so slightly. Let's see if we can crack. I find it easier um, to pick one time frame for the day and basically trade it. Um, is pretty much what I do. Because if I trade in the morning on my time and then I trade in the afternoon, I'm not good enough to be like super active for 6 7 hours a day. I'm too tired. Then you know I find trading it's quite mentally taxing on you. Mainly when you're watching DOMs and you're watching correlations and what's been pulled here. You know, what's been hit into, where is the next levels that some large sizes. Because as of right now, there's just no let up right now. You know, we want to see a sell off and we understand that, right? But it is one time framing at the moment with zero pullbacks in the day, as much as, and this is where context comes in. This to me would be a sweep, right? This is great, you know, really great level. But the fact we're now going this grind of death up here, it changes the, for me it just changes the overall picture of the trade. If, however, this went up to this level in like 2-3 candles, say we had a massive bid and we shot up here and we come up to this level, right? Much more appealing, because when the market has this grind up, slowly but surely, constant buying, no pullbacks, and, it just never stops. It's one of those ones where it goes up three ticks, down one, up two, down one, up three, down one. And then you're like, oh, it's about to turn around, but now, but it never stops. I like to call it the grind of death. To be fair, more active at the moment in treasuries. It was an ES specialist for many years. Simply focusing on that. But treasuries, I think is an easier life. If I'm honest with you, you don't have these days. The market's relatively consistent. You can take a couple of ticks out of treasuries for size a day, and you know it's just easier. And also you can see from the order flow, it's you can scan the main three, the short, middle, and long end of the curve, um, very simply, right? Whereas if I'm really active in treasuries, I typically use tick strike, and I don't have this up while I'm on the stream, but when I'm really engaged in treasuries, I like to have tick strike up that effectively shows me the volume that's coming into the big six, you know. So I have it set as I'll need to run over a session with everyone regarding that, but um, basically you want to know what size is coming into Apple, Nvidia, Google, Microsoft, and Meta. You want to notice the size that's coming into them, because when there, for example, some sell is coming into them, some aggressive selling, because you can set the volume right. You can literally be no, you can have a ticking or a prompt when there's little volume, or you can only be notified when the size. I only want to know when there's like size, so I have it set all the time. This could go here. This could go. We need to crack here. Someone is absorbing. Last ditch attempt for the first pullback in an age. Look at that. 175 absorbed. Let's see if they can. And then there's refreshing the bid. Jeez, oh. So 175 absorbed here. Just look at the continual refreshing. Let's see if sellers can crack. And this is the sign. This is what you're witnessing right here, with just 175 absorbed, 303. So whoever is took this price up is not done yet, right? That was an iceberg right there. There was hardly anything in the bid, and then it continually refreshed and absorbed 331 contracts in the bid. If you were selling, that's the last thing you want to be seeing. That should not be happening. You know, you would need to be seeing price hitting through there, the bid been pulled, and then life is simple, right? This is not a simple trade now if you were selling. So yeah, Kevin, I'll do a video on that, man, for sure. I'll do something on that. Well, the one appealing thing about treasuries is it's not as whip. It doesn't whip you as much in the metaphor sense, and probably in the literal one as well. But it doesn't, like, for example, unless there's large data points coming out. If this was treasuries, this market is just not going to pull all the way back here, for example, right where my mouse is down here. And when it takes the next price and the bid thickens across the board, and it takes the next price, it typically will take the next one as well. And you can, and because it's much slower moving market, you get a lot more time to assess, tons more time. If you get in a bad position in ES, it could be 6 ticks against you by the time you blink, especially if it's a volatile day and they're pulling bids and offers. So um, I think if I was to trade, if I was to only trade in the morning and I couldn't trade the US market, I would be trading the Bund. Put it that way. That's what I would be doing. So it took me years, years. I've been involved in trading. I've been trading 9 years. This is actually my 10th. Yeah, end of this year will be 10. A decade involved in looking at these damn screens. So you just get a feel. That's the thing. Like it's like white magic. And there's it, one of the number one things I've learned, and it's this grind to death. Like I would be shorting this all day. This is my like perfect setup. We have a rise up into a key level that's noted on the chart, right? Let me make this slightly bigger so you can see it. Um, so this would be my perfect setup. Okay, the market puts in a massive excess up here, right? Drives up. This is probably a news event, and then we've come up into this level. I would be, if this was in the regular trading hours, well, it is, but if it was in the first couple of hours of the session and we did this with some aggressive movement rather than this continual grind, I would be extremely interested. The fact that we've had this grind to death, um, it's just less appealing. And then even more so, say for example, you decided just to take this, right, and you were short, when price get down here at these 58s and we saw that 331 just be absorbed where they were trying, someone stepped up and refreshed that, plus at the price below there was 175 contracts absorbed. So you've just seen 500 contracts absorbed in those three prices. That should not be happening for the sell side, so it means that someone is still not done executing their bids. Because how the market moves is you need these market, like right now you can see the bids are pulled here, right? Some size can come in here and this should drop down 4 ticks, for example, but this person here is continually absorbing, and it's never a great side. You want to be seeing it on the other end. You want to be seeing it, here there should be absorption, not on the side that's just about to break out, right? And we can see as well the Dow is ticked down ever so slightly, but NQ and Russell are basically at the highs as well. So my reason being is you get a feel for the context of where the market is in the day, and just as a general rule, when the market is one time framing and it's a slow grind death, day up, it's just continually going. It's hard to pick a point. And now look at this, they're now basically holding this again with some size. Let's see if this is going to be real or not, because they might pull this. But then Russell's just went. Let's see if they can hold it up. The Dow is not really responding. I missed that. Looked away for a second and missed if that was pulled. But it took me a long time, Vader. It took me a long time, mate, to get the hang of it. But yeah, so there's 418 contracts right hit. Okay. And now you would really want to be seeing a sort of tick down. I actually prefer NQ when it's at 1 tick for this, to be honest, because NQ should be ticking down aggressively right now like it is, right? But then you're not wanting to see this tick back up. This should be going now, for example. They should be cracking this price, then you want to see bids pull, and then we start working our way down, but it's not looking very, very likely at the moment. And it's going to be conducive of the type of day that we're in. suppose the thing is, I mean, you know, this we've hit this level now a few times. I mean, you really need to have balls of steel to be selling this up here, you know, in general. But it is at a really good level, right? The higher low on the DOM is just it's the high and low for that session. So you can enable it. You can enable it in the settings. It's just the higher low for that specific not session for that day, and then it resets at the start of a new trading day. I mean, look at this. We've seen 1,024 here absorbed. I mean, jeez, a lot of buying in here, but we've got Russell doing its thing here. The Dow's not really moving. I mean, to be honest, how much more can they buy it up, right? This is such an important level. But Vader, you're never seeing regular trading hour high. This is what the regular. This is the high of the session. Obviously, it continual updates, but it's just been pressing highs all day. We want to see some bloods here. We want to see some selling off. In the next hour, we could see a juicy pullback. And I reckon if sellers do get to move here, I reckon it's going to be quite an aggressive sell off. You know, always is when it's like so one sided. Because here's another thing, right? Um, Majority of positions that are opened in a day need to be closed, of course, right? Um, so how are these guys going to close their positions? Because then otherwise, if they don't, then it carries over to open interest, and we get to see it. This is looking slightly better now. Sellers can at least gain a little bit of control. We may may be the time. Notice the 58s where we had the 331 traded. They need to. That's the next price for sellers if they're to get to there. Um, they need to try and crack. Is anyone getting any open positions at the moment? But notice how thick the book is today. It's much thicker than when we watched the other day. It's 100 bid at each price. Even on the offer on the way up. Here we go. Let's see. 58s are still absorbing. Let's see if they're other. Yeah, it's still there. If that goes with some size, this is going to go. No. Gosh. Notice NQ's tick down at the same time. They need to try and take out these levels here. Because if they can, if they can smash through the bid, whoever is absorbing over these three prices, then this is going to sell off. But there's basically a firm and a large company that is just willing to absorb all of these, you know. And you guys know that there's serious size because who in the right mind is buying here? Do you know what I mean? Would you guys ever just look at this chart and go, do you know what? I'm going to buy the absolute highs. Do you know what I mean? Only large firms can do that because they know that they can hold the price. They can say, right, we can pull our bids here and price gets down, we'll just absorb everything. We can catch more on the bids, and then we can start lifting into the offer and take price up, you know? And then we could potentially look to exit some of our positions here. They can do that. But can we buy at the highs like this? No. Well, you can if you wish, but the time you go and buy at the highs here, it would sell off. Yeah, I want to short it as well. It's looking likely, but as I said, when the market's like this, you want to be cautious. If we go up here and we take out this, I mean, the fact that the Russell is just in a world of its own at the moment is not great. If the Russell was back down here, um, and NQ is maybe down a little bit more. Right, so this is a key level. Let's see if they hit this with size. There's going to be another stop run. Jeez, oh, they're just still not done, are they? We're just watching here. So typically, what I look for when the market does this, so it's just had a little bit of a sweep, right? There was some stops that we triggered because that's the first sort of stopping that we've done. So there's essentially been shorts that have just had to cover there, right? Now, essentially, how the market ebbs and flows is the company that was, or saying company, the firm that was buying down here, they would now be flipping. Okay, so they've now been able to get out of their positions with that stop run, and then they basically now flip to the offer, and you want to see them absorbing, for example. I'm just using this as an example. Is that going to happen here? But then probably not. We're going to need to see a tick down in NQ, and the Russell needs to chill out as well, or correct and come in. Here we go. So notice how the bid's been pulled. Let me clear this. You notice how there are only 69 trades and it pulls. This is how the market moves typically. You know, you want to see these dudes who are continually refreshing. They go, and notice how if this does go down, they carry this out because that was whoever was buying here. They got to flip, and then as soon as they start flipping, they're no longer there in the bid, and then the price can go. But we're not seeing any significant size come in really at the moment. If sellers do start coming in with some size, we can potentially correct off. Because now we're back into where it was. We've then essentially took out some of the stops up here. Now would be the perfect scenario for this to sell off. Would I take it like this? No, not at this time. But this is the prime time. If we're to go, we're now back at 50, going to be 58. It's the key level where that dude's kept on refreshing. If we can crack here with size, we should get some, we should get a little bit of oomph down. But notice this 58 level has been respected. I think we've went 2 ticks below 58s. The flipper. Notice I just pressed my mute button as I said that. The flipper, exactly. That's precisely it, man. That's what these firms are doing all day, every day. And they can do that because they're the ones that have the price. The bid is thinning a little bit here, ever so slightly. You can see it's massive though. I'm actually not accustomed to this NQ like this. It's kind of nicer to look at, but I don't think it's reliable. NQ normally gives you a little bit more signs to what's happening. Is that 60 on NQ? It's 60. 60? No, so unless it's moved on you, I'm not too sure. 60, we've got a 50 lot showing at roughly 52s. This is annoying me how these are not lining up correctly. So for subscribing, buddy, you help out the channel, and you essentially get more access to myself to really ask any questions. There's some different options in there. You can make your own decision for what you would like. It depends where you, if you want to support the channel and you appreciate the content, then you can subscribe. But we run Discord, and it's probably more access to asking questions, assisting with your trading, chart books for Sierra, all of these types of things. And also, so you're aware as well, I don't get any form of, like, I really promote Sierra. Oh, here we are. And I don't get any form of kickbacks or anything from them. They don't even have a partner program at all. I just do it because it's a good platform, and I think it makes sense if we're all seeing the same thing. Right, now's the opportunity. Come on, sellers, go. They're back at this 58s again. I mean, if they can crack this 58s, we are in for some downside. Once the 58s go, but we're just not, are we? We're just not. Yeah, exactly. We can have a look, man. There's some different options in there. If you really want to zone in your training, I've put something together um, where it's more of a one-on-one session and stuff, and we can run through things. But I'm just trying to, regardless if people want to support or not, I want to give everyone value, and and more of a build a really good community. We've got like-minded traders, and we're all there to succeed and help everyone out. You know. And there's another thing I'm never going to do. I'm never going to start punting, uh, you know, prop firm stuff in people's faces, man. If people want to trade prop or trade personal, it's their own. I do both. I think everyone should be trading prop to go to a personal account anyway. Take as much money from those companies, because I can guarantee you, some of the big names in that prop industry, man, they're not going to be there. They're not going to be there in a couple of years. It's just their business model sucks. Right, I want to see these 58s go. Thanks, man. I'm glad you appreciate them, buddy. Gives me the motivation to continue, putting out the content and helping everyone, And I want this to be a completely different channel to what you randomly see. Here we go. Here's the time. We want to see. Here we go. NQ's ticking down. Notice now the difference where Russell is ticking down. This is the time where this should go. Still holding. 58.5. These three ticks are where we need to crack. We are seeing a little bit correlations. Tick down in the Dow now, tick down in Russell. This would be, but we're not. We're still holding again. There has been another 400 contracts absorbed on the bids here. In my opinion, the market should not be returning back here if this is to sell off. If we return back above here, then we're basically bid again. We want to see NQ coming down a little bit more to help it out. Yeah, Albert. So we've got some jigsaw experts. I don't use jigsaw myself. We've got some jigsaw experts in the channel. One of the mods, Jaggers, like a jigsaw veteran. Here we are, key level. Let's see, can we take it? We're looking more and more likely at the moment. If NQ can hit some. See, we're refreshing now on the offer, which is quite a good sign, but they need to be done here. Look how important these 58s, these three ticks. Buyers are literally iceberging the heck out of these three prices right now. They just cannot crack. $57s. Oh, did it? Yeah, I've already cleared, so I'm not really too sure. But if we can crack here with some size, I would like to see at least go down 5-6 ticks, at least a little bit of oomph, because this is the most I would say in a while. This is the most we've sort of not went up, at least. But they're just really struggling here. And we need the fact that NQ's up here is really not helping. So NQ is pretty much at the highs. It's not helping. NQ needs to be down here for this to crack. So we need to see NQ dump and sell off. This is a time where I'd like to see NQ in one tick so I can see a little bit more granular detail as to what's happening. I think I'm going to change this. I don't think this is providing me really any value having this combined, to be honest with you. It's nicer to look at, but in terms of, you know, like right now, the fact that NQ is up here, this short to me is even less appealing right now. And if we cracked 60 and a half, you know, I would essentially be no longer in here because we're seeing sellers are still willing to step up here to some degree. Let me know if you guys have got any other questions. Market's kind of out of whack at the minute. We're seeing the Dow ticking down, and so is the Russell. NQ is not, and which is basically causing ES to hold. So for a sell-off, you know, NQ is now hit here. I wonder if there's a sweep now we can sell off and bring us down. Okay, trying. This is basically all down to NQ, in my opinion. If NQ can get down here, we will sell off because the other markets are already giving the signs. They're already like, look guys, we're ready to drop. But NQ is just not having it at the moment, not having it at all. I trading NQ on the depth of market would give me heart palpitations. This is why I've got it combined so it's easier to see, but I prefer to use it for correlations typically. So now the NQ is breaking the highs. This is no longer a thing. The short now. NQ needs to chill out and get back down here because while this is printing highs, ES is never in the month of Sunday selling off. It needs to sell off, and then we see this because look at this. We've got Russell ticking down and the Dow. The Dow is not moving. This needs to go. We're just not having it. This is, you know, correlations are now out of whack at the minute. And what I mean is something weird. We're not seeing any push up in the Russell and the Dow. NQ is ripping, and ES is basically just being a counterparty to NQ at the moment. But you need to have the you need to be super laser focused for NQ. I don't know. I don't see how people can. Order flow is so difficult. Going from NQ to Treasuries is, you know, it's like night and day. This is a great risk to reward here. It's like 5 ticks. Let's see if we can see NQ going down. Come on, NQ. Yeah, let me know if you guys have got any other questions or what you're thinking. Put a put a H in the chat if you think we're going to finish higher than where we currently are in the day, or put an L in the chat if you think we're going to finish lower. I want to see what the general consensus is for chat. When sales are really trying, we're seeing them come in right now. First sign of a bit of negative delta. If NQ can help the team out, because the Russell is like, you know, I'm ready. I'm ready to go here. If someone can help me NQ and, you know, take me to the pits, that would be great. Basically, a little bit of divergence across indices at the minute. When I start to see price action like this, the way it is right now, I'm starting to think, something's not quite right here. And then if NQ can end, there we go, NQ is starting to go down. Think it's going to go higher. Nice one. Right. This now would be the time for this to be going. We want to see some red. But it's just not having it, is it? As you guys know, in the next 45 minutes is when the action's going to happen. Yeah, Neil, I'm with you. Just really a guess, to be honest. Shame. Let's see what's happened to treasuries just quickly. Even though we're at the highs, I want to quickly jump and see. We have not moved. Jeez, oh. Oh, we did actually. We traded down, so we had that absorption, then price pulled, and then we traded down here because we had that cleared. Wow. Interesting. This is... Alright, we'll jump back. I'll bore you guys to tears watching that. Think it's going to go down. Yeah, maybe range or flush out there, late shorts and then dump. Hey, we could do, I mean, there is just tons of two-way trade in this like 10 tick range here. Certainly different price action to when it was here, you know? I'm not really a fan of when you know indices do this. It's you either you know get in a long position early in the day. It's or if you try and fade it, you get steamrolled. You know. Here we go. Ah, such a lack of follow through on this on the sell side here, right? What was POC here? 14k. Yeah, it'll be interesting if we can hit it. If we can hit it. I think whatever which way this there's a lot of downside potential if we can somehow get some momentum going and aggression in the sellers here. And I think we need to clear the 58s where someone was happy to absorb. We need to clear that. It's extremely important level because the Russell and Dow have pretty much not moved, right? You need the patience of a saint to try and wait for a short here. But to be honest with you, I wouldn't advocate even really shorting markets like this because it's really difficult when you first start trading to try and anticipate when this is going to happen because you need like large firms to basically A, pull their bids, and B, start executing at the same time, you know. And you could be there all day, it could never stop, you know. So it's really difficult. My opinion when the market, I suck at trend trading, right? I've learned that over the many years. Um, I perform much better at mean reversion on balanced days. When the market's like this, my opinion, you just need to buy and hold it for the day if you can. And the type of trading, I don't simply buy and hold things. I buy and get out when I've had a good trade, and I try and have the trade as painless as possible and use as little amount of mental capital as possible. But we have seen, look at the amount of volume we've traded up here as well. NQ's trying to go down. Here we go, some size coming to NQ there. This could be it. This could be tally ho. NQ is maybe going to try and fill out this low part on the profile. Here, that would be nice. If we do get down, this could go. This could be an opportunity. Yeah, I mean, I am not really a major fan of one time framing days because you either you have a great day, right? The Dow is taking these prices. Let's see how it reacts at the 880s, at 25s. I keep on getting distracted here. I want to see the go. We've got everything primed right now. NQ's dropping. We need this to crack. The other indices are going. We just need to see these levels go. They need to stop absorbing on the bid for this to be going. But trending days like this, I think you either have a great day or you get steamrolled. Right, well, note 58s, that was where the absorption was happening before. If they can crack that, then the downside, there's a lot of downside potential if we can crack this. So if I see the market right now, very okay, now this is more like it. Now is the time. This is the biggest opportunity we're seeing flashing on the offer. Right, this has been the biggest chance so far. We've sat to short, but we'd seen the amount of absorption up here. If the market goes back up to sort of 61s again, you know, another bait and switch. But typically, if I go into Albert, if I go into the day and I see, for example, I show up at the screen, I typically don't look to trade until the initial balance is set. Till the initial balance is set, and then if the market's one time framing, I just don't trade. I go to treasuries or something. I suck at this, because this type of price action, where do you buy? This is not really a pullback. This is not really a pullback, and there's the sell off right there. We've been calling it for the last hour and a half. And this one was quite a slow one to develop, you know, not easy to pick off. And the trouble is, if you start anticipating these types of moves, right? What happens if you anticipate it here, you take a stop out? You anticipate it here, you take another stop out. Do you know what I mean? It's just best, honestly, to try and not time these things. Or if you're selling this, you need to get out with like the 10, you know, because considering how bullish the day is so far, when the market sells off, it's just instantly snapping back. Or if you are taking, you need to take this for a whack of ticks. Sorry, one time framing, Albert, is so on market profile. Let me zoom in. Each letter sequence you see, so A, that's 30 minutes, B's 30 minutes, C's 30 minutes, so on and so forth. Each letter, and it goes on to the next one in the alphabet, is 30 minutes, right? So when the market's one time framing, and what one time framing means is it does not break the previous time frame. So C, right, then it opens, okay, and then D happens, okay, then we don't break D, we don't break the D period, we then literally only tick down with F, and then we've been one time framing ever since, you know. So until this to fully correct, if we can take out, I'm just drawing this randomly on a chart here, but if we can take out sort of this level here, right, we're now back on track to go back down into this sort of higher volume area for the day down here. So, and as I was calling, that when this does sell off, there's a lot of downsides. The risk to reward was pretty good on this. But realistically, if you tried this here and tried it here, you're probably going to take a stop out on the way. So if you are having days like that, you need to make sure and take enough off your winners. In my opinion, until you get super experienced at trading and just understand the different day types, and the fact that we traded out all this volume, the fact that I was scratching my head that the Russell and the Dow were not were down here, but NQ was the one that was holding the market up. All of this stuff that I'm saying, you literally only gain that knowledge by screen time. You know, I was a head scratcher when these were down here, but NQ was up here, and which was holding ES. That's just the correlations, the power of correlations. Now the NQ's pulled back, the Russell and the Dow have, kind of moved, but, nothing major. It's been NQ that's taken ES down. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. You probably put that in a much simpler way, Vader. I've just explained it probably really complicated. Um, but right, this has been a lower volume traded area, so we could sweep through here pretty quickly today, you would think. So if some size comes in and the bid is pulled, the next probable target is going to be, roughly in these 48 regions. And the fact as well on the monthly profile, we're now extremely out of value. So on higher time frames, this would be a good position to start fading. But then who really you know, fades this? So until we're now into the spooky M period, which is always the wild 30-minute period. It's where it can make or break a trader's day if they're actually trading it. Guys, if you're watching and you've not yet hit the like button for me, if you can do that, be much obliged. Tracking queue's going itself here. So that's been the first pullback we've had, since like what, 1 o'clock or something in the US. That's crazy. The first proper pullback. And that's what I'm saying is it's just best for you never to try and just close your screen when you see days like this. If you're good at trend trading, then by all means, but in my opinion, I just don't understand where you buy. You literally just close your eyes and buy the breakout or something. Breakout traders get paid today, but then they get stuffed, 80% of the time, you know. But we've got some down here to 53s. So MP is an important one because we have all of the volume that comes in the next probably 30 minutes now on the dot. It's a really volatile 30 minutes in terms of size that comes in. See if we can crack here. See, what's quite interesting is the fact that delta is still positive here. But M period, I'm not sure if you've been in the stream, but you'll see in the next 25 minutes or so, the volume really starts to pick up. It's crazy. There'll be thousands of contracts traded. So it can either go one way. I mean, we can consolidate here, but in the next 30 minutes, if the bid gets pulled and sellers start getting aggressive, we could easily be back at 48s, 44s roughly. But you're going to need sequence across the board to happen. In my opinion, it's just good to watch the price action that comes in, because if you've not traded and made money yet today, just don't bother. You know, just watch the order flow and take notes, and take it easy. To be honest, there's no point putting your if you know that's the way I see it. If you've not made money yet today, I wouldn't bother. Yeah, it's basically the high volume into the close. Yeah, but I'm not sure if you've watched the DOM, mate. When the high volume comes in, it's wild. It's absolutely wild. You see it. The first initial spike comes in at uh, at 10 to 4 US time, and it lasts for 15 minutes. So from 10 to 4 to 5 past 4 is when all the crazy volume comes in. So we're just sort of easing our way into all the volume at the moment. What charting package does everyone use? Is it mostly Sierra in here, or does a lot of people use Jigsaw? I'm assuming that's if you guys are into OrderFlow, it's most likely going to be one of the two, right? Or maybe Bookmap or something. Yeah, you're quite right, buddy. You're quite right. It's when all the volume comes in. And Sierra, nice, nice. Yeah, I'm a Sierra fan. It's a really non-user friendly platform, if I'm honest, but you know, once you learn it, it's a really good platform. One of the number one uh, things that changed my experience in Sierra was the video I have on move around Sierra like trading view, where I use my scroll wheel and my mouse to to do this, and then I use the hand tool to drag around the chart. It makes a massive difference um, for charting and just overall quality of life around the platform. To be honest, Jigsaw's DOM's very good. It's one of the best ones I would say in the market. And the good thing about Jigsaw DOM is it's pretty out of the box. You know, Sierra is really complicated to get set up. That's why I assist people with the chart books and everything along those lines. It took me forever to configure this depth of market, by the way. It took me a long time just to learn the nuances. It took me years. I had to set it all up. But when it's like anything, right? It's a skill set once you use it. You need to know your platform like the back of your hand. So if you ever get into sticky wicket, especially while you've got a trade open, you should be using hotkeys all the time as well to help you. So if you're in a trade, I've got like Control V. I hover over the price, press Control V, and it'll instantly put my stops or targets exactly to there, whatever's closest. If I'm in a bad trade or something, or I'll notice something weird happening, and I'll just quickly press that. And the reason why I do that, you're probably thinking, well, why don't you just have a flatten key? Because if you flatten, you never get the same price. You can just simply go at this and take a position. It'll move your stops for you, and then you get out of the limit. You know, so all these little small things that you need to set and configure, and should probably do a video around hotkeys at some point. Yeah, it's a pain, isn't it? It's a pain. But yeah, that's the reason why I've got some Sierra tutorials on there. You can go through them and check them out. Look at the amount of buying it's just come in. Wow. We're now plus 30k nearly delta on the day. That is outrageous. Well, I would say, Albert, to save you the pain, I can basically assist you with the chart books and stuff. So you just need to get either Denali or level 2 from your data provider. And you maybe need to have at least package 12. Jigsaw doesn't have MBO data, but Jigsaw I would say is more slightly out of the box. But this is where we can assist. We can assist with all the chart books. I mean, um, I would say that Sierra's charting is better than Jigsaw, to be honest. But Jigsaw is one of the leaders for the depth of market. Yeah, I mean you can add so much stuff onto the DOM on Sierra. I mean, if you don't want a volume profile, you can add uh, a different column. You can add you can. There's so much more stuff you can do from the DOM. I've just got mine because I've got four DOMs up. I like to try and keep them a little bit smaller so that it doesn't take up the whole screen. But yeah, I mean, let me know if you need any assistance with it, Albert. There's also down to cost as well. What products do you trade? You know, I think I've got the full CME suite for level 2, and then I've got package 12, and I think it costs all in about it's maybe about $90 a month or something. That's for full MBO data and including. Now the thing is as well. Do you trade your own personal account, Albert? Have you got an account with like Stage 5 or Iron Beam or through Edge Clear or through Interactive Brokers or anything? Okay, so I did a video on that. If you've watched it, the bid and ask timeout, I have it set as 2,500 milliseconds, so 2.5 seconds, and it refreshes on the price change. You can have it where it doesn't reset at all, and then you just clear it yourself. But I think you really need to. It just depends on your style, to be honest. I would say if you're not sure, just go with the refresh. Okay, it's slightly easier to spot icebergs as well, like right now. So they're cool and just continually refreshing on this 58 3/4 here, 277. There's nowhere near 27. They just keep on refreshing, and then the price ticks away from it and price changes, it goes back and then refreshes. That's pretty much the case. If you don't want that and you just wanted it to aggregate all the time, you can set that to no. Yeah. And then if you've not got it set up, the make sure you've got the best highlight the best bid and the best ask, so that you've got like this has been the best trade it's carried out in the bid, the best trade it's carried out in the ask, and so on. And then I have it coloured for where the recent traded volume is. And also you need to get the best out your DOM. If you've not got the time interval updated, like the refresh rate, make sure and update that. And then change your uh, GL graphic settings. It makes a massive difference. I cover all that in the videos, right? It makes a massive difference to your depth of markets. Like I mean, night and day. Once you increase the refresh rate, change your bid and ask refresh time, the timeout, and enable your best bid and best ask in the graphic settings, and it makes a huge difference. Okay, so this is the first time we've rejected a high so far today. 6 minutes and counting till volume. This look like this is okay. This is the first time we've seen a little bit of selling come in now. Let's see if we can at least have some blood to close the session. Oh, you've seen it, buddy. Right, good. Preaching to the choir then, Vader? Well, and this is the thing, Albert. You go with the prop firm. It kind of, it's a stopgap between live and not. But the one thing I would say, if you're new to prop firms, do not beat yourself up if you lose them because they're designed for you to fail. Specifically, Apex. Apex is one of the worst ones, to be honest. They give away, they're so cheap as well. The only way that works is if they look at the amount of. I'm not going to go on a prop firm rant. I'm not, I'm not going to do it. I'll go off on a tangent. I'm not going to. They are what they are. They provide a solution. Use them to learn and have a little bit of skin in the game rather than losing your own stuff until you feel you're profitable. But if you do fail the challenges, don't beat yourself up because you're meant to fail. That's how they make their money. You know, they're literally like casinos. And then once you do make money from them, they literally say how many hoops do you need to jump through in order to get paid. You can't DCA. You have to trade at 10 trading days. You know, um, you have to have a certain consistency rule in place. It's all these tons of things, and there's a trailing drawdown. It's really, really far away from normal market conditions. So then you've got like the top step. and take profit trader and all these new ones that come in, they're all pretty much the same thing. So I'm a firm believer for prop firms as to when I make money, I just want paid, right? I value them on who's got the best payout policy and the best payout time, who can I request the money from the easiest. So ideally, I would want to be taking 2, 3 payouts a month. Here we go. Here's the pooling. And I would probably say the low standing one is Top Step, to be honest. But they're all pretty much they're of a bad bunch. I don't agree with that new Top Step X platform. I think it's does more harm than good. Wow, look at that absorption there. They should, if they can crack this for some size, we're in for, you know, we're in for some downside here. Do I? No, no. I mean, on occasion, on occasion I'll maybe work I'll work a couple of prices on treasuries. But I've already factored that in. Do I ever get like in a position and then just say, oh screw it, I'm gonna add here? No. And I typically try and be all in and all out. I'm not really a major fan of the whole scaling thing. In my opinion, this is just my what works for me. Um, the problem I see with scaling is if you scale in and scale out, you end up not scaling out of your positions. Sorry, you end up not scaling out of your losing positions, so you take a full loss. And then when you do actually scale out your winning positions, you don't end up taking um, enough on your winners, pretty much. So that's the problem I have with scaling. And you very rarely hear anyone ever say, "Oh yeah, scale, but I also scale out of losers." No one does that because they have plenty of hopium when they lose, but not on the other end. They lock in profits too quickly. So I'm a firm believer of just go in with size if I'm trading, the size that I want to go in with, keep the size consistent, and look to get out of my designated target and don't scale. Just chalk up as a good trade. If it goes more, it goes more. Who cares? Sell a V. That's life. Here we go. Here's the sell-off we've been wanting. We need to try and see if we can break these 51 and 3/4 where all these orders are sitting. There's one in Europe where they refund the combine fees if you pass. I don't know. Here we go. There is the sell-off. Notice it went right down to the MBO's order and then ticked right back up. Classic. Wow. Oh, and that was right at the 10 to 4 US time. How a coincidence. I really should have cleared that, but it looks like the offer has just been extremely pulled there. Right, you guys ready for the next 15 minutes of action? Someone can remind me to refresh the DOMs before 4 o'clock. Let me know if you have any questions. Wow, that's extreme, isn't it? Went right down, touched that large order, I think, round about here, and then it just went straight bid, straight line, and crazy. I don't know, and to be honest, regarding prop firms, um, I don't really like their business model. I think they pry on. They're just designed for you to lose. So it's not. I'm here to try and help people win, not promote them into scammy prop firms. To be honest with you, if you want to use them, use them. If you don't, don't. They're there for a reason. Take as much money off them, uh, and then go to your personal account. That's my opinion on them, personally. But this channel is not here. It's here to help people be profitable and to execute positions. I'm not here to pump uh, affiliate codes into people for prop firms or whatever. It's just not. It's just not how I operate. You know, this is how the difference in volume now. We're really getting some volume through. If you get any questions about any of that, let me know what you're thinking. Are we going to end the day in a massive spike again? And everything is now ticking up as well. Yeah. This 250 lot once filled up here. And they're just absolutely taking it all. Wow. It's one-way traffic today, everyone. One-way traffic today. Up now at 32,000 delta. Jeez, oh. These guys have to be closing some positions, surely. Wow, Albert, that's madness. Do you know what I mean? These firms are not there. It's like, um, I was thinking about this because there's not actually any prop firms out there, in my opinion, that are really after uh, live traders, good ones to actually make money. The closest one I've seen to it is maybe like, Top Step advertise it, but theirs is kind of a bit weird as well, where they try and say, oh yeah, we'll promote you to live, but when you go to live, they don't give you any money or anything. It's not like they take any risk. Do you know what I mean? All they do is charge you more fees, take money off you, and basically, wow, and take money off you, and you need to pay pro rata fees. You know, so doesn't seem to be any prop firms where they actually take you in. Once you pass, they give you some education. Um, and they maybe give you a bit more flexible rules once you get into their program or something. More of like a career rather than you know, like prop firms were back in when you'd actually physically go to a prop shop. You would be in a desk. The only one I can see something similar to it is like Axia Futures, but I've never really done any research into it because I'm never going to go and physically trade in a desk. But um, these prop firms are trying to mimic that these days, but they're just really far away from the mark, right? Because as we've spoke about it before, there's a lot of these firms like, oh, you'll get access to risk managers and stuff, and you're like, oh, great, thanks for that. Thanks, I need someone to phone me basically and tell me that I'm doing my arse in for that day. Look at this, just absorbing at the highs, honestly. Complete one-way train. Now, interesting that they've just planted all these orders down here, right? Yeah, exactly. I mean, honestly, I'm saying that there was going to be a sell-off, and if you did catch this sell-off, it needs to be quick, like a 15 ticks. The trouble is when you've got like now 30, where it's 36k delta, you know, that is some large firms are executing size, you know. What is interesting back down at the POC that they've got these flash, so I would like to think that they'll be wanting to get these filled by close of play today. So watch the next 3 minutes. The next 3 minutes price could be down here with these. And they're really weird amounts as well, aren't they? Like 169, 157, you know. But one time framing, it's just it depends how you trade. If you're a breakout trend trader, then you love this type of stuff. You know, there's so many fake breakouts, like 70% of the time in equities, so or indices. I call them equities because they cover everything. All the but, it's just breakouts. I prefer much more balanced days. Things like let me have a look. You know, days like here where you open, you go down, and then you reverse back and you end back in a range where you've got this sort of nice correction. I prefer days like that, or days like this where it's more bell curvy. Days like this where it's just one-way traffic. I mean, look at this. It's complete one-way traffic. Ever since the news has come out, it's just went straight bid. And that's what I was saying with M period. M period is always wild. Always goes one way or the other. Watching history in the making. Yeah, pretty much. Bertha Hathaway will be getting some orders in. Yeah. So my sort of theory on it is right. If the market is doing like what is a theme for the day, what is the theme? And when you enter that trade, why at the time that you decide to press the mouse is that theme going to change? Because you collectively need some large players in the market to also change the theme, and it's pretty unlikely, right? And look at the size it's coming in. We've got 1 minute. Let me clear the DOMs so you guys can see it, but this is wild. We need to refresh. But look at the amount of volume that's trading here. Wow. This amount of volume and we're still not going down. You'd like to think there's going to be at least a tiny bit of correction, right? But it's not. What a day. This is a day where everyone's got 401k that they park it and just large pension funds just buy. They're happy days. Because in order for the market to be like this, large players just need to buy up everything. Any single select pullback they want to be buying. Here we are. Let's see how the market can react down at the 60s sort of level. Because these dudes that had these orders planted out down here, are they going to get filled down here? Inversion. Yeah, well, I was thinking that. Let's see if we can revert back to the new printed POC at 60s. Because we've got three, probably 4 more minutes of this action where it's crazy. Well, that's the thing, Albert. I have got no idea. What I would advise to see here is, I mean, they're still absorbing right now. It's madness. Um, what I would advise, maybe check the open interest, see how there's 36k delta today, roughly. How many positions are carrying over? Because when you have a day like this, right? Clearly it's one side buying, so if there's a large amount of open interest that finishes, then it's most likely going to be buying, right? And it gives you an idea to think, well, that shows you that this trend is likely, as an example. If there was no open interest, or we actually finished negative on the day, then there could be a potential that a correction's happening. Because look at right now how much negative delta is coming in, but price is not moving, right? We're absolutely dropping with size in, and it's just been absorbed right now. Do you see that? With that amount of negative delta coming in, the price is literally not moved. Well, I mean, when I say it's moved like 6 or 7 ticks. Well, the thing is, Albert, that, these guys need to also turn on the machines tomorrow, and they need to try and execute. I mean, look at this. All this selling happening, and they're absorbing on the bid 16, 1800 contracts, 4,000 contracts in one price. Wow. That's like that's just an iceberg. You can frame that one. It's probably worth you guys watching that back. One tick is 63 and a quarter, just traded 4,000 contracts. Jeez, that's crazy. So look at the. Do you see this though? There's so much selling, and people are still absorbing this. We've just wiped off. Hmm. This is weird. Normally, when you see this amount of selling in, see this is This is weird. This is weird. Um. This is really strange. I've got a theory about this, and it's almost like these bigger firms are just swapping. Because if you get that much selling to execute on the market, right? That amount of selling like this, and the market is not moving, who is stepping up as an opposite firm on the bid to absorb that? Do you know what I mean? That's madness. Look at that. So that means all of the buying positions have now been closed. But who's absorbing that? Do you know what I mean? It's like they're flipping their positions onto different portfolios or something. Seriously, that's a wild statement. But who at this time is going to be absorbing that amount of selling? And we've moved what 15 ticks, 15, 20 ticks or something from the high here, and yet we've wiped off. We've wiped off nearly 10,000 delta. That's exactly what I'm saying, Neil. That's exactly what I'm saying. I did a thing on market manipulation, if you watch one of the videos, where it was pre-market, 4,000 contracts bid and offer between each other. I can't exactly remember the exact amount, but similar to that. Who's absorbing 10,000 delta at this time, right? I mean, who's absorbing that? Um, it has to be a switch between firms, or a switch between their portfolio where they're closing out positions or they're executing for clients or something along those lines, you know? Because if you had that amount of contracts dump on the market, that should be taking the market down, you know. I know market making firms need to absorb prices, but they don't need to absorb 4,000 at one tick. You know what I mean? There's something spooky about that, and almost is it just makes typically when I see this action going on, and it always leaves me like head scratching. There's normally something. The last time I got this sort of head scratcher was one of the last FOMC meetings. Um, when Powell was talking, he said absolutely not a single jot bullish, and the market went to the moon. He finished speaking, and I was like, "Why is this going up?" And then he finished speaking, and the market absolutely dumped, literally right back to where it was. You know. So just as an example, when something when it looks like a duck, sounds like a duck, and quacks like a duck, it's a duck. Do you know what I mean? Nice. Yeah, exactly. When in doubt, man, there's no point trading. I'm just more intrigued as to why that's happening, to be honest with you, because you'll never know. You'll never know. And that's where um that time is gone now. From the pit, you would probably know. Like, can you imagine that happened in the pit years ago, and you would literally see the dude that would be holding that price, and you know what's crazy? You can literally walk up to him and say, "Hey, dude, why? Why did you do that?" Now you've got no idea. Completely changed days. It's only large traders are only been executed now for really complex iceberg orders that probably computers are, the more market making firms that are turning on the machines and are just on the bid and ask and executing buying or selling programs. But really complex large orders will still be done by individuals. Quack, quack, quack. Nice one, Neil. Yeah, so I think that's crazy amount of selling there. Yeah, market went wild, Vader. And then we've just seen, if you want to round it back and check the ridiculously fiendish iceberg, I think it was 16. Was it 63 and a quarter? I think it was. We saw 4,000. Yeah, it was 63 and a quarter and 63. There's been negative 7.2k delta, and price did not move. So here's the question, right? That was sell positions executing, and buyers have still got those positions then open. So again, the amount of buying that's been absorbed and actually hit on the day, it'll be super interesting on days like this to check open interest tomorrow. If open interest is going to be negative, then it would be like, well, we could potentially be in line for a correction. Because another thing of what I note is when you have a day that is like this, right? But there's not really a ton of value that's built up in the way out. Sorry, in the way up of this. When you do have some sell pressure that comes in, this could be taken away in a session easily, you know, and probably in a couple hours of open, to be honest with you, because you guys know what it's like when a market sells, it dumps, especially in equities. There's nothing that moves quicker than a selling market. Yeah, pleasure, Neil. Thank you for stopping by. Much appreciated. What's this on, Vader? Are you talking about NQ or? Yeah, I think so. I think that's pretty much how I need to bring up the market profile and have a look. But yeah, we're pretty much nearly finito. I can't imagine us doing very much right now. I'd be surprised if we conduct any more, large amount of volume in the next 40 minutes, to be honest. So we're probably going to look to wrap up the stream, bros and broettes. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you get any last questions before we decide to wrap up. I'd really appreciate if you've not joined the Discord, make sure and join it. We've got a nice group of traders and like-minded people in there. I would really appreciate as well if you can look to support the channel with the pinned comment. If you'd like to, is much appreciated. Just wait to see if you guys get any questions. We'll give it a couple more minutes. But hopefully you guys had a good session though. And we'll have a good day tomorrow. 2 more days left of trading for this week. If you're having a red week so far, you can turn that around in the next few days, but don't carry over today's losses. Start tomorrow fresh. Tomorrow is a new day. As long as you're here tomorrow, you can continue on. So always preserve your capital. It's the way to do it. Until then, guys, I'll be chilling in the Discord for a while. If anyone's got any questions, feel free to reach out. No problem, Albert. Glad you enjoyed, buddy. We'll be on at the same time, probably from roughly about 2:30 p.m. US. You guys have a great evening, and let's all stay green. We'll catch you in the Discord, and have a good evening. Cheers, everyone. No problem, buddy. Yeah, exactly. Rest and plenty of sleep and beer. Plenty of beer too. Anyways, guys, you have a great evening, and we'll catch up tomorrow. Okay? Peace, everyone.